Hi, I'm Dr. Ginger Raya, and today I am with Sergeant Major Ivey Paige. Can I still call you Sergeant Major?
Sure, Doc. You don't retire. Yes, sure.
Yes, okay, retired Sergeant Major Ivey Paige. So I'm kicking off my career corner because this whole time that I've been in healthcare, a lot of the questions that I get are about how do I get into healthcare or how do I transition into like a different healthcare industry? And I think since I've known you, Ivy, for I guess over 4 years, almost 5 years, I think you have a really
Yes.
interesting story. And I want to talk about your story. I want to talk about, a little bit about your military career, your experience. And I want to talk about your transition into the healthcare, your professional healthcare career now. So let's start
Mhm.
by first, thank you for your service. And second, go ahead and tell us about yourself.
All right. Hey, Dr. Raya, I really, appreciate, you allow me to come, invite me to your
Mhm.
um, session and everything.
Yeah.
It's an honor for me. So just, a little bit about, myself. I'm a small town boy from a small community in Natchez, Mississippi, and I never thought, hey, I'd be trending on, on this level
Uh-huh.
and everything. So when I first joined the military, man, it was the reserves, actually, the National Mississippi National Guard, which I became a medic and everything into the healthcare field. So I
Mhm.
never thought, hey, the healthcare field would be just, so expansive and
Yeah.
everything. Um, so joined the reserve, National Guard, and for 3 years, and then actually became on active duty, as a medic, combat medic and everything. I
Mhm.
went to Germany for my first 4 years in the military. Was only supposed to go for two, but I love Germany so much. Then went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I love Fort Bragg. Went to Korea for 2 years and came back to Fort Bragg, as we call it, center of the universe, because Fort Bragg is the center of the universe for the Army.
Okay.
And but then I deployed from Fort Bragg.
Okay.
What we call a transition team, 11-man team, and we work with the Iraqis, our counterparts. I work with the federal police and everything, which is like the United States FBI, which
Okay.
not not such on an advanced level,
Yeah.
and everything. Came back home after that year of a lot of stuff, and
Mhm.
stayed there from '09 to 12. They came out to Fort Bliss, El Paso, your hometown,
Mhm.
for 5 years, and
Yeah.
then yeah, and then went to Afghanistan and came back with the Sergeant Major's Academy. That's where I met you at in
Yeah.
2016. And in 2016, 2017, that whole year of you teaching us and expanding us on healthcare and opening our minds to the healthcare, which was awesome, to get my master's degree in that. And I never forget, how you would tell us, hey, always remember, you know, in the end, you're going to retire. And I never forget, sometimes like talking to you or emailing you, was like, hey, doc, is having a master's degree or a degree in, if this is what I'm pursuing, is it really worth it
Mhm.
into the medical field
Right.
in civilian world, in the civilian world?
Right.
And you're like, yes, and so I remember I asked you a price point one time. Well, somebody offers you
Right.
this much money, you was like, well, Ivy, right now I take that as a bonus.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Jesus, a bonus?
I remember
So,
that conversation.
but yeah, exactly. I was just like, a bonus for that. I need to hurry up and get out the military. So so it's been, you know, 25 years in the military,
Mhm.
great. And I still have a lot of, the classmates that
Yeah.
was acting in the class that
With
you taught
us.
us. They're still in the military. They're still
Yeah.
doing the thing. And I salute them for the service. And unfortunately, I had to get out earlier than I wanted to
Okay.
due, due, due to medical reasons and other reasons.
Yeah.
But it's
So
been, oh, go
go ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
it's been, I think me being able to get out when I did, it was the
Yeah.
best
Yes. Because you're doing
decision.
well now.
Yeah.
Well, and so in hindsight, when you think about your career as a medic and you think about your graduate work and all of your schooling, what what was your transition plan? Like, what were you thinking? Like, okay, after my master's degree, then, this is what I'll do. Like, did you have a transition plan?
Well, I kind of had a transition plan. I was thinking, okay, I'm sergeant major. I be able to get out and I be able to find a job, I want a government job and this
Yeah.
and that. And I was just focused on getting a government job
Okay.
and everything. That's all I was focused on, just hey, government job. And I ended up getting a government job, but it's a
Mhm.
contract for the government
Okay.
and everything. And it didn't, and it only worked out for 6 months
Okay.
and
So
everything.
tell us what you do now, Ivy. Like, where are you working right now? And tell us about this new role that you have.
So like the new role that I have, I mean, it's in the civilian sector, which I think, hey, it is wonderful. It's, work for a company, LabCorp, and
Awesome.
I had to give the disclaimer, hey, LabCorp does not endorse, this video.
Of course, of course.
I have to do that and
Right.
everything. So I'm putting out that disclaimer if
Thank
somebody
you.
was trying to, but I work for a great company, LabCorp in the civilian world. And it's so much, it's fulfilling because the things that you taught us, the
Mhm.
things that you say, hey, XYZ, you having a master's degree, you having a bachelor's degree
Right.
in the healthcare administration, this is going to help you elevate yourself. And that's with the civilian company, they took that in consideration. I was just like, holy crap. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, compared to me taking a contract job when I did with the military, with the organization that I was working for and everything.
Right.
I'm not going to name them or whatever because
Sure.
it's just but they didn't even take that in consideration. They were just like, hey, this is this is what you take or whatever. But LabCorp, they took all that, everything
Awesome.
into consideration, especially
Okay.
for veterans and all that.
Amazing. And I think you bring up a great point. So once you retire from the military, at that point, was your focus more like looking for like military friendly, like veteran type, like organizations that supported hiring veterans? Was that kind of your approach?
Yes, it was. It was, that was my approach. I mean, I was sitting up there looking like, okay, I'm looking for doing this job, that job,
Right.
that hire veterans. And a lot of organizations say, hey, we hire veterans and all this, you just be like, "You really?" And so you apply for them, but you never hear anything back. It's just
Right.
like, man,
Right.
yeah, and everything. And even a guy like me, as myself, I work for Amazon. I had worked for Amazon,
Okay.
delivering packages to your front door.
Wow.
So I had to humble myself. So I'm thinking like I went to the highest levels enlisted in the military.
Hmm.
I did all these things. I don't serve my country, got a master's, but I'm out here delivering packages.
Yeah.
But I had to humble myself and I was enjoying it.
Right.
And then I got the phone call from the organization that I work for now. And it was just like, holy crap.
Mhm.
It was just amazing because in the end, because it was the things that you had taught us, the things that you had let us, hey, focus on and everything. And,
Yeah.
and that's oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's and that's one of the things about you being a great teacher and mentor to so many of us is just like, hey, humble yourself,
Yeah.
everything, and soak it all in. And that's what it was. I soaked it all in because at first I was just like, man, I'm only out here working for Amazon. I'm only making in the DC area, I'm only making X amount of dollars an hour.
Yeah.
But I humble myself in the position I receive the organization I have now. It's just like, you know, I don't go from hourly. I went to salary
Right.
and everything.
Great.
So yeah.
So in hindsight, I mean, or I don't know how often you get approached right now by other
Mhm.
um, military folks that are trying to transition out? I mean, what advice do you give them? Does anybody ask you like, hey, how'd you do it? What advice would you give somebody?
Very few people, they ask the advice, and it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. It's just like, come to me, ask me, and I can tell you. So hindsight, I would tell them, hey, keep your options open, have an open mind to everything,
Wonderful.
to government jobs, civilian jobs, and, and everything. Listen to people such as yourself.
Mhm.
Hey, listen to them because they know better than we know. Because my boss that I work for now is like, hey, it's great that you had the discipline part and everything, but you're coming into the civilian world.
Mhm.
You're not in the military no more. Because you think about it, 25 years, this is what I was just like blah 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 blah. Hey, but then I come to the civilian world. But you help break that barrier, for me to be like, yeah, it's funny, it's like having a hard-boiled egg. And I know it's maybe a crazy analogy, but it's like having a hard-boiled egg, and it's just so the hard-boiled egg is just so used to being whatever hard. But you came along and you cracked it with a spoon or whatever. It's like, okay, hey, look, I'm gonna crack you. I want you to be able to think in these different directions and
Mhm.
everything. And that's what you did. And I believe that's one reason why I'm so successful
Oh,
in the position that I am now. And that's my advice, for veterans or whoever, soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guardmen or whoever. And if you're transitioning out and you're looking for either that degree in healthcare administration and all that,
yeah.
or whatever, especially healthcare administration, because that's where it's at.
Yeah.
This is you have to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not in the military no more. Let me, calm down. I can, apply discipline depending on the job with everything. Because the civilian world is gonna pay you for having that degree and everything. Like with your influence, and I'm quite sure other people, not just people in the military, but people with your influence, it has made me go back, getting ready to go
Mhm.
back to school to work on my PhD.
Yay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
to work, to be Dr. Ivy Paige.
Yeah.
That's my goal in the next 2 years when I'm a year and a half
Yeah.
doing my dissertation. That you on a Zoom meeting or whatever, hey, that you see me defending, be doctor, not
Yeah.
because of a position or a title,
Yeah.
just because I know, like, wow, I did it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I started from here because in high school and everything else, I hated school. I
Yeah.
wanted to be the best, and I was just like, I wanted to be the cool kid and all that good stuff. But I had this big old head, kids used to tease me and all that stuff. And then just being honest, but I just couldn't, like, some things I couldn't grasp.
Yeah.
But the things that you taught us, the things that you teach, the things that you pull into us, you being a awesome teacher that you are, it really helped me over these last few years. Like I said, we met in 2016,
Mhm.
but I still, and you know this for yourself, I
Yeah.
still reach out to you, or when I have something good, I'll be like, hey, doc, because when I work for the company I work for now, like I said, you was, besides my mom and my dad, you was the second person. Hey, doc, guess what happened? I'm making this much money because of the degree I have, because of what you told me back. Well, not me, but what you told us back in 2016, 2017. And I don't think a lot of people are grasping that
Mhm.
and everything.
Well,
So
congratulations. You're doing great.
thank
I'm
you.
so happy for you. And so now you're making me think about some other questions.
Mhm.
So I remember like looking at your resume, and you obviously had all this healthcare experience.
Mhm.
When you transitioned to the civilian world, at that point, were you focused on those translatable skill sets? Like at that point, you were highlighting, working with patients, working with, doctors, you being in crisis situations. Were
Mhm.
those the things that you focused on to help you transition to the private sector?
Yes, I did. I focused on those things,
Mhm.
like, hey, and honestly, I just had that one track mind thinking at first when I transitioned. I was like, okay, hey,
Yeah.
this is
Right.
what I'm focusing on, you know. And I was saying to myself, any hospital should be, you know, great or should be
Yes.
privy to have me. I'm such, yeah, that's just how I was feeling,
Yeah.
especially in a military hospital, they should,
Mhm.
my knowledge and this and that because and I just had that one mind setting
Awesome.
on certain, but then I was like, okay, after a few months, I was just like,
It
okay,
takes time, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's not a switch. It's not, I think most people look for a job, and this is pre-pandemic for sure, but like
Mhm.
6 months to a year, right? Like
Right.
actively searching. So it's not a
Mhm.
switch. So how did you stay focused? How did you persevere to make sure that you got to that end goal? How did you motivate yourself to stay focused?
So how I motivated myself, stay focused for me,
Hmm.
and I speak for anybody else,
Yeah,
one for me is, God.
great.
And I had lost my faith in a lot of stuff I really did, but at one time, but then I was like, okay, you know what? Then it was like a light switch click one day. It was like, okay, Ivy, quit focusing on just this one angle. I had to go back and I had to pull it back in. And like we said earlier, I had to think about what Dr. Raya said, what Ginger said. I always call you by your first name, your last name. I had to pull it in.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, what did she say?
right.
And then I expanded myself. So I took my resume, looked at it. So I shot it out to these different companies, different, in the civilian sector, not
Hmm.
just worrying about the military sector. And I did that one week. Then a week later, I was like, holy crap. I started getting, this one guy, he was just calling me. He's like, hey, the position I'm in now, he's like, Ivy,
Oh,
it was like, hey, Ivy, and I'm just thinking like, okay, you calling me Ivy, so because we're so used to being like, hey, sergeant major or
right.
master, this, that. And I was like, okay. And it's like, okay, calm your brain, all this.
You had to
And
adjust.
yeah.
You had to
And
adjust.
yeah, it was, and I was like, holy crap.
Hmm.
And it was like, hey, this company is looking at you, I want to send your resume to them. And
Wow.
yeah, exactly. That's what I said too. My boss that I have now, she told them, she's like, hey, the recruiting company, she's like, I really want to have an interview with him. And we had the interview, I had an interview like on a Friday.
Hmm.
So I was like, am I gonna know something today? Because usually in the civilian world, they let you know quick. In the government world, in the military, it's a while.
Is it?
And but what I liked about boss, like, hey, I got another person to interview, XYZ.
Right.
But the recruiting company, he kept up with me that Monday, Tuesday. It's like, hey, they had the interview with this person. By like that Thursday, he calls me and said, hey, I seen the phone, I seen my phone ring. I was like, oh my goodness, my heart like dropped, to my stomach. I was like, oh, it's gonna be bad news or whatever.
Oh.
And oh my goodness. And he's like, hey, you got the job. I was like, huh? What? I got the who? I was like, holy crap. I was like, okay. And then he's like, hey, the company's HR department, they're gonna reach out to you, this and that. And um when they talked to me, when he talked to me, he's like, hey, the job is between, I give this number, is between
Yeah.
60 to 80K a year. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And he was like, well, how much you want to ask for? I was like, dude, I don't know. I've been in the military for 25 years. I get pay raises by promotions,
You were working with a recruiter.
Recruiter. Yeah, working with a recruiter, because I expanded my thinking.
Great.
explained, my thinking, and I didn't have to pay for this. And that was the crazy part. The company I work for was paying for this. I was just like, so
Wonderful.
that's the total different thing about when you put your resume, make sure that your resume and stuff is, great and everything, especially for veterans
Yeah.
out in the civilian world. I'm just like, holy crap.
Mhm.
And he's like, hey, I was like, bro, I say, brother, I don't know what to ask for. Like, I have no clue. So you got to think about it.
So
And
how did you research that? How did you come up with the number?
well, he came with the number.
Okay.
He was like, hey, it's between 60 and 80. I'm looking at your experience. He's like, I'm not a
Right.
military person at all. He said, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at your having a master's degree in healthcare administration, XYZ, all the jobs you done held.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So he asked the company for 5K less than the max.
Great.
So I just put it this way. I got the max. As I say, 60 to
Wonderful.
80.
You deserve
60
it.
yeah, 60 to 80, you're just thinking like, holy crap. But then with the with the benefits and stuff, I mean, the benefits depend on, every company's different, but the benefits, you're just like, holy crap. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this and everything. But like I said, it all goes back to what you taught us. I always revert back to what you, Dr.
Good.
Ginger, in August of 2016,
Yeah.
what you taught me,
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, it's 2021, it's 2016, it's 2021.
Yeah.
And we're still friends. Well, now we're really good friends now. At
Yeah.
first I was a student, but now we're really good friends. And it's just like, holy crap. This is the stuff that she was trying to get us to click this light switch in. Like, hey, listen to me, guys. I'm trying to tell you, hey, this is what. So now I'm getting ready, to go, because I was trying to go through a PhD program through the university that you was working for at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have it.
Yeah.
So I can do another one, but at the same time, it's like, holy crap, that's that motivation, because I know once I finish that PhD program, I'll be able to go back to
The doors will open up for you
the
again.
doors open, and then I'll be able to tell them, hey, now I have my PhD.
That's right.
And I'm doing very well in my job, which I know I'm going to be doing, they're going to be like, okay, hey, we want to keep you.
Right.
Here's probably another 10 to 15K.
Yeah.
You just be like, holy crap.
So something else I would talk to you guys about, and I'm not sure if you remember this part, maybe it was a lesser lesson, but we would talk about networking. What kind of networking did you do? Did you join any associations or anything like that to try to network?
I joined like different, like the Sergeant Major associations, different things, on LinkedIn.
Okay.
There was so many, it's so many that's on LinkedIn that you can reach out to, you feel like, holy crap, or even on Facebook, to try to follow, because you be like, okay, these different associations to try to, I can't even name them off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, it's okay to expand, but you bring up another good point, right? You heavily utilize LinkedIn. So, you're on LinkedIn. I'm going to share retired Sergeant Major Ivey Paige's LinkedIn page with everybody in the comments or in the description so that you can follow him, follow his amazing career and everything that he's done. Is there anything else, Ivey, that you want to share with everybody?
That's it. LinkedIn is, LinkedIn is this where it's, follow people.
Absolutely.
On LinkedIn,
Great networking.
It's a great networking tool, because that's one of the tools I use to follow you.
Yes.
To be able to learn, like, okay, man, Dr. Raya, she's doing this and everything. So
yeah.
LinkedIn is a great tool to follow.
I agree.
A lot of people are using LinkedIn as a regular social media tool. LinkedIn is not, it's not established for that. Facebook is established for that. Instagram is established. LinkedIn is established to get you associated with people that can help you move to your next level of things. If that's what you want to do, LinkedIn is the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much, Ivey, for spending some time with me today. I wish you the best. Please keep in touch.
All right,
And I
Dr.
look forward to seeing to your career grow and to calling you Dr. Page soon.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank you.
one.
You too.